Hello everybody and welcome to Schofield Desiderio Park, home of the Port Jeff Royals, as we get ready for Game 1 of a 3-game county championship series between the Port Jefferson Royals and the Pearson Whalers. My name is Gabe Zota, and I will be your play-by-play announcer for today's game. Now, for the Port Jefferson Royals, coming up as the number 1 seed in the Class C tournament, able to make it all the way to the championship, while the Whalers had a little bit of a more difficult route as they had to do their dances against the Settlers of Southold, a team that Port Jefferson just played before. And they had to beat them to get here to the finals, and Port Jefferson did beat them pretty handedly the last time they met. The score was 5-2, but it did feel, especially with Luke Filippi on the mound, as everything was going in the Royal selection. So let me give you guys the Whalers lineup as they will be up first here in the top of the first inning. So starting as the leadoff, Vincent Cavaniola. Then it goes to Christian Pantino, who's playing third base today for the Whalers. Vincent is playing left field. Justin Gardner going to be supplying the shortstop minutes for the Pearson Whalers. And then the cleanoff batter is going to be Max Krotman, the center fielder. And the 5-hole is going to be Reed Kelsey, the first baseman. Gavin Gilbride, the catcher. Brendan Burke, the second baseman. And then we have a DH situation here for the Whalers, where Charles Schaefer is going to be DHing for Charlie Culver, who's out in right field. After that, we have Andy Wayne, who is going to be the starting pitcher for the Whalers. And for the Port Jefferson Royals, you got a little bit of a familiar look, as we saw in the last game against the Southold Settlers. Luke Filippi is the leadoff batter. Roy Rago, the 2-hole. Abby Rolfe, the left fielder. Kyer Erickson cleaning up. Natty Mullen, who's on the mound today. Going to need a superb day today from Natty if you want to get Game 1 of this 3-game series in your favor. Then it goes to Danny Owens, who's going to be playing center fielder. And then, as we saw in the last game, Frankie Andriani will be DHing for Kieran Laffey. Then it goes to the catcher, Evan Raymond, and closing out with Joey Aronica, the second baseman. Once again, Natty Mullen on the mound to start things off. Maybe not as great as we saw from Luke Filippi in the Southold game, but definitely a formidable foe out there on the mound. Everyone is set to go. Natty fires in the first pitch of the game, and it's ripped already towards center field. Going to be caught for the first out. 1 pitch, 1 out for the Royals. It was a good piece for the first pitch of the game. It's a really good piece, but a flyout did come out of it. That's going to bring up Christian Pantina up next, the number 2 batter. First pitch to him, dropped down low for a ball, number 1. The 1-0 pitch coming in. That one going to be swung on and missed for strike number 1. Make it a 1-1 count for Natty Mullen. He has to be efficient today. Pitch count is going to be at a premium for him, as he looks to stay as strong as he can for as long as he can in this game. Next pitch comes in, another swing and miss. Make it a 1-2 count. The 1-2 pitch, ready to fire. He shoots, and that one went for the slider, a little bit outside, unable to get the swing and miss that he wanted, and evens up the count 2-2. 2-2 pitch coming in now. Went for the outside fastball, unable to get the call, as it was a little bit too outside, but with high school strike zones, they usually widen them out just a little bit, so you never really know if that kind of pitch will get called, as we saw kind of on the white line of the lefty batter's box on that pitch. But now the 3-2. goes with another fastball to Luke Filippi over there at shortstop. That play is probably going to be made, and it does for the second out of the top of the first. As the ball gets thrown around. Definitely an amazing way to get a batter out with the ground out. And it looks like Natty Mullen's not going to be probably the strikeout getter so far in this game. And based on other times I've seen Natty pitch, definitely likes to utilize his fielders. As the first pitch now to the number 3 batter, Justin Gardner. It's going to be high and inside. Went for a two-seam. It rose a little bit too high and didn't get the strike call. It's again the 1-0 pitch. Gardner comes around for the bunt, takes it out once he realizes the ball was going to be a little bit too high. Makes the count 2-0, and if you're the pitcher here at Natty Mullen, one of the most important parts about these kind of situations is keeping yourself locked in. You got the chirping coming in from the Pearson bench, definitely getting their teammate hyped up. The next pitch, that one's going to be in there for strike number 1. The count 2-1. Definitely a great bounce back pitch. Just reforming that fastball. It doesn't go anything too crazy on that one. 2-1 pitch. That one upstairs for ball number 3, and all the balls that Natty's missed in this count has been high fastballs, whether it's a two-seamer early on the count, and now we see the same with that fastball, just a little bit too high and unable to get the call. Justin Gardner is a little bit shorter, but those would probably be balls for anyone else, and ball number 4 for Justin Gardner, as he's going to be the first base runner for the Pearson Whalers already in this game as the number 3 batter. And that's going to bring up the cleanup man, Max Krotman here. Situation, 2 outs in the top of the first. Runner on first base for the Whalers. Natty Mullen wouldn't consider this a jam just yet, as he got the first 2 batters out pretty efficiently, pretty well. And now with Krotman up, that one's ripped. That's going to be over Joey Aronica, the second baseman, and into center field. Single for the Whalers as Gardner went first to third on that hit. Now Pearson are threatening early on in this game. And we've seen Natty already get pieced up a couple of times in this game. We saw even with the first batter. Even with the first batter of the game, Vincent Cavagnola ripped that one to center field. That one pulled towards the second baseman over Joey Ronica's attempt. He's going to bring up another ground ball to the number 5 batter. Luke Filippi's going to step on second base for the final out of the first inning. So Natty Mullen already able to get out of a jam, strand a couple of runners, and the Whalers unable to get across any runs in the first inning. But that's going to bring up the Port Jeff Royals. You're listening to the Port Jeff Royals County Championship Series right here on the Royal Sports Network. And as we get ready for the bottom of the first inning, Andy Wayne takes the mound for the Whalers after Natty Mullen was able to get out of a jam in the top of the first early. Had a situation first and third after getting the first 2 batters out, but then really buckled down, got the ground ball he needed to Luke Filippi, and he was able to make the play at the shortstop. But that's going to bring up the Port Jefferson Royals offense and read off their lineup as we head through this game. Leadoff batter is going to be Luke Filippi. As I said before, same look as they saw against the Southold Settlers. Roy Rago is going to be the number 2. Abby Rolfe expected up third in this inning. All 3 of those batters have had really good seasons so far. And now heading into the playoffs, they're looking to continue that success in the postseason and also in these playoffs set. And that's going to bring up, first and foremost, Luke Filippi, the leader, the absolute carry, the star, the face of this team. Number 12, Luke Filippi, the U-Albany commit today, playing at shortstop and already getting a couple plays of action there at the shortstop position. Andy Reid takes the mound, ready for his first pitch of the day, and that one's going to be low through the wickets of the catcher, Gavin Gilbride, to make the count early 1-0. And we got, finally, once again, the scoreboard in center field is on. Always fun to see that. Second pitch, I think that was an off-speed pitch that was made the count 2-0, a little bit outside on that pitch. And Andy Wayne, not the speed pitcher, but he uses finesse and ground balls to get outs and really utilizes his fielders to help him out and get through games. Andy Wayne, definitely a formidable opponent, but nothing that these Port Jeff Royals can't face, as that pitch, the 2-1 pitch, goes outside to make the count 3-1. And if Luke Filippi can get on any way possible, he's a threat to steal and do anything, as that one is hit contact. That one's ripped over to left field, and able to make the catch is the Whalers left fielder. And that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a lot of hard-hit balls that really don't have a lot of exit velo off of the bat, as we saw. And that hit right there from Filippi, that pitch was middle. He got a good swing on the ball on that play, just unable to really get it really far, because you have to use a lot of your power to make it go that far. Not saying that Luke doesn't have any power, because he definitely does, but definitely with a faster ELO pitch, it helps it out just a little bit. So he flies out for the first out of the inning. It's going to bring up Rory Rago, the first baseman. First pitch, that one outside for 1-0 count. As I mentioned, Andy Wade really hitting to contact in this one. He's going to give batters a lot of pitches to really hit, because they're not super fast. Doesn't really seem to have a great pitch mix. I heard him throwing before the games. Maybe he's trying to work on a cutter as well, just trying to increase his pitch mix any way possible. That one pitch kind of loops in there for the first strike of the at-bat. 2-1 pitch. 2-1 now the count. And if you're a batter in this kind of situation, as the 2-1 pitch comes in, that one low and bounces right before it hits the plate. Well, when you're in a position like this, facing a guy like this, you can't get too overzealous. You can't look at this guy and be like, oh my gosh. You can't really get too overzealous in these kind of scenarios. What you have to do is you really got to buckle down, stay with your approach, and work the counts, as that one is ripped towards left field once again. Tries to make a diving catch and makes it for the second out of the inning. And what a play by the left fielder, Vincent Cavani-Ola, already with 2 putouts in this inning, and that one done diving. It's a great catch to get the second out of the inning. So the Royals, no runners on, 2 outs in the bottom of the first, looking a little bit like what the Whalers were able to do in the top of the first. 2 outs, and then maybe they got a couple runners on. The Royals looking to have the same production here. As the first pitch, that one gets cut on and fouled off towards the backstop to start the count 0-1. First pitch strike for Andy Wayne in this game. Abby Rolfe reporting about 400 batting average in the regular season. As the second pitch of that at bat went for an off speed, slipped out of the hand a little bit, went high to even up the count 1-1. Next pitch, that one gets in there for a called strike. 1-2 count. It's really working well in the outer portion of the plate here. This Royals lineup doesn't have a lot of lefties in it, so don't really have to worry about that lefty-lefty matchup if you are the Royals. You see a more favorable side of the pitcher coming outside to into you in the strike zone, as Andy Wayne's going to call Gavin Gilbride, the catcher, up to him, just to give him a quick chat, maybe telling him, hey, I want to try out this pitch. I want to try out another pitch. Let's try to work in some other pitches. Maybe he's not liking the pitch that he's seeing. Maybe Sam, call a little bit of my game here. Anything's possible in really those situations. As Gilbride gets back behind home plate, Abby Rolfe digs in once again. 1-2 count, 2 outs here in the bottom of the first inning. That pitch low A little bit inside, bounced on the plate. 2-2. Now the count with 2 outs. And Abbey Rolfe looking to protect and thrive. Goes with the curveball. Strike 3. Backdoor curveball for the 3rd strike of the inning and the 1st strikeout of the game. And that one goes at the hands to Andy Wayne. So the Port Jeff Royals unable to get any runs, get any base runners in that 1st inning. And as we head to the 2nd inning, score still knotted up at 0. You're listening to the Port Jeff Royals baseball right here on the Royal Sports Network. We are back here for the 2nd inning of action here at Schofield Desiderio Park in Port Jefferson. In this Class C County Championship Series against the Port Jefferson Royals versus the Pearson Whalers. First pitch from Natty Mullen was a ball, and then followed it up with another ball from early 2-0 count. Port Jeff got shut down in the 1st inning after going down 1-2-3 they went down, as that ball is going to be fouled off towards the first base side. To get the 1st strike of the inning for Natty Mullen. We're already at Gavin Gilbride, the number 6 batter of this lineup. As Pearson in the 1st inning, as that one is cut on and missed for the 2nd strike of the at-bat. And in the 1st inning, Pearson did threaten with 2 outs as they got a runner on 3rd base. Unable to cash him in, though, as Natty Mullen did a good job battling back, and he battled back in that at-bat as well, as after falling 2-0, he bounced back with 3 straight strikes and gets the called strike 3 for his 1st strikeout of the game. It's going to bring up Brendan Burke, the 2nd baseman for the Pearson Whalers. First pitch hits the outside corner for strike number 1. It's 4 straight strikes now for Mullen after throwing 2 balls to start off the inning. Next one, that one doesn't get in there. It's a little low. You hear Coach Rosen tell the young catcher, stick that up there. Maybe he gets that call. But he did not in that situation. Couldn't get any call on that 3rd pitch of the at-bat, as that one bounced, but a good block. Count stays now at 2-1. 2-1 pitch. That one upstairs, 3-1. It went for that upstairs fastball because that was a pitch that he got a swing and miss on to get the 1st strike here. But didn't get anything on that one. And on the 3-1 pitch, outside from Natty Mullen to get a walk. And that's walk number 2 now for Natty. Brendan Burke, right-handed bat. It's the righty pitcher. Natty goes for a pickoff just to keep Brendan close to the first base. Definitely don't want him on the move, even though that's probably what the Pearson Whalers are going to go for here. Expect them to do that. Another high fastball. Natty really struggling on getting that fastball down. A bunch of his strikes early, a bunch of his balls early on have been those high fastballs. So getting that command down on that pitch is going to be huge, because that sets up every other pitch that he has in his arsenal. Goes for the 2-seam on that one. Gets a swing and miss out of Charles Schaefer. It's count now 1-1. Goes for a pickoff once again. Doesn't get anything. And we do the 1-1 pitch again. He steals out. No, he doesn't. He faked as he was going to steal. Gets the swing and miss, does Natty Mullen. Make the count 1-2. Went back to that 2-seam that starts in the middle and then kind of cuts back in towards the right-handed batter. Now 1-2. 1-2 pitch. He went for the strikeout pitch, unable to get it. That ball falls into center field. Runner goes station to second base, and the Pearson Whalers once again are threatening one And this gives an opportunity to the pitcher, Andy Wayne, to put on a run for his team for himself, which would be huge in this scenario. Looks like he's going to go for the bunt. Gets down a really nice one. He's going to get the out at first base for certain, but for Andy Wayne, that's a super successful sacrifice bunt. Moves the runners over to second base, and now the Whalers have 2 runners in scoring position with 2 outs in the second inning. The Whalers had a runner in scoring position in the first inning, but were unable to cash it in. Now with the top of the order up, the Whalers have a really good shot here with Vincent Cavaniola, who already got a good piece of the ball in the first inning, to do some damage once again in the second. First pitch went for it. Looked like a... I think my mic wasn't plugged in. I don't know how much it was, but Cavaniola gets flown out towards right field. Pearson once again don't convert with runners in scoring position. And the Whalers notched 2 stranded runners and no runs. So as we go to the bottom of the second inning, score still knotted up at 0 here in the Class C County Championship Series here at Schofield Desiderio Park. You're listening to the Port Jefferson Royals Varsity Baseball right here on the Royals Sports Network. As on the bottom of the second inning, still no score between the Royals and the Whalers. And in the bottom of the first, not much really happened for the Port Jefferson Royals as they fell down in 1-2-3 order against Andy Wayne, the opposing pitcher. Once again, Andy Wayne not really going to be that strength pitcher, or that power pitcher, but uses more of the finesse and getting the batters on their front foot early to his advantage. As the first pitch, once again, went for the backdoor curve, gets it in once again. That was the same pitch that he struck out Abby Rolfe to start off the first inning, and starts off the second inning with that same pitch. Next pitch, that one drops down low, makes the count 1-1. So early on, Andy Wayne really does well with that curveball that kind of just drops in there backside to these right-handed batters of the Royals. That fastball dropped in low once again to make the count 2-1. And the next 3 up here is going to be Kyle Erickson, Natty Mullen, and Danny Owens, the 4, 5, 6 batters for the Royals. That one's lifted into left field. That one's going to drop in there for a single and gets by the left fielder. Erickson moving to second base. He's going to stay right there. And to start things off, the Royals have a runner in scoring position early in the second inning. And that one, if you're keeping score, I guess, that one definitely a single. And the error that made him go over to second base. But nonetheless, no matter what it was, the Royals are threatening to score with no outs here in the second inning. And up at the plate, number 66, Natty Mullen, the pitcher for today. First pitch goes with that curveball backside, gets it to get called for a strike once again, as he's done very successfully this entirety of a game so far. Next time Andy Wayne looks back, Erickson at second base, just to check, just to make sure he doesn't get too far off that bag. A single here should score him, though, as once again goes for that curveball. That time doesn't get it to get called for a strike, a little bit high as it crossed the plate to make the count 1-1. On the 1-1 pitch, that one gets in there, outside corner, gets called for strike number 2. That's a call I know that Natty Mullen would love to have on the other side. So when it happens on him, that's probably one of his thoughts. As now he chokes up, gets in that 2-strike stance, and that one puts it into play, gets by the third baseman, gets by the shortstop. He bobbles it, the shortstop. Natty able to get on. He would have definitely been on no matter the bobble, so you got to give him a single. So the Royals start off this inning with 2 singles, runners at the corners. Definitely probably going to see Natty Mullen in motion here to try to get himself to second base and get 2 runners in scoring position. But now with Danny Owens up at the plate for his first at-bat today, he's in a big spot to try to put the Royals up early. First pitch to Danny. That one's lifted foul into the backstop. Danny really aggressive on that pitch. He thought that was the one that would have scored in the run, but he just fouled it off. But for the Royals, you really got to applaud that aggressive approach that he brings. Looks over back, picks off the runner at first base. He's going to be safe in there. He's just checking. If you're the Whalers, you gotta assume that Natty is looking to steal here. He doesn't go on. He does go on that one. Throw comes down, and he's tagged out. Erickson didn't move from third base. And Natty gets out on the base paths. Crucial out for the Whalers. Really nice throw by Gavin Gilbride there to get the first out of the inning. But there is still a threat to score on the side of the Royals, and that would be Erickson at third base. As that one's grounded foul towards the third base side, and just on that steal play, if you're Natty, you're probably asking yourself, Eric Kyle, you're at third base. The throw went through to second. You gotta be on your horse to get home. Didn't do that. Unable to score, and an out really comes in with nothing there. But as Danny Owens did get hit on that curveball, that one just yanked inside. Hit Danny Owen. And it brings up now Frankie Andriani with a different situation. First and third. Once again, Jeff with different base runners. And Danny Owens definitely a speedy center fielder. And only 1 out in this inning. They might have to go with that same kind of look. Try to get Danny over at second base. Not sure, though, with the unsuccessful attempt last time, as Frankie Andriani saw that pitch. First pitch of the at-bat, swing and miss. First strike, number 1. The 0-1 pitch from Andy Wayne. That one in there, lifted towards left field. That one's going to get down. Erickson's definitely going to score. Ball at the wall. Runner from third gets the third. Runner from first gets the third base with that 1-out double by Frankie Andriani all the way to left field to bring the first run of the game for the Port Jefferson Royals early on in the bottom of the second inning. And that right there is a big relief if you're the Royals, getting that first run across and now threatening once again with 2 more ducks on the pond for Evan Raymond, who last game against the Southold Settlers hit a nice double that brought in a run in that game. And he really ripped that shot towards right field in that last game. Now looking to do some more damage in this first game of the championship series. But so far he's seen 2 pitches, and they've both been balls. So he took both of them, and now he's up 2-0 in the count. This 2-0 count is just such a powerful position for the batter. Andy Wayne kind of forced to throw a strike. Not too sure if that curveball would have been called a strike, but Evan Raymond did swing and miss at it. Ball looked a little bit high from my vantage point. A 2-1 pitch outside and low. And the Whalers do have a spot to put him there at first base, so walking him might not be the absolute worst situation, but any walk is definitely never a great thing, as that one gets lifted into right field, in between the right fielder and the The baseman, they're going to try and tag the runner. He's safe there at home. The ball gets by Gilbrand, the catcher. So Frankie moves to third base. And with that sac fly by Evan Raymond, the Royals are up 2-0. And that one, I wasn't sure that was a play that would have been a runner that would have been scored, as that was pretty close to the infield that the right fielder was able to make that catch. But as soon as that ball dropped, Danny knew what he needed to do. He went home. He kind of hesitated halfway through. Didn't know if he was going to turn back around, but he ended up turning on the Jets, getting in there right before the tag was placed on him for the second run of the inning, second run of the game for the Port Jefferson Royals. And now that's going to bring up Joey Aronica, the second baseman of this game. Runner Frankie Andriani on third base. So Andy Wayne's just going to have to pay attention to that a little bit. Looks like Andy's going to go back to the windup, as he's not worried too much about that runner stealing. First pitch that came in to Joey, swung on and fouled off to the backstop. Joey thought that fastball was going to be one that he was going to connect with, but once again, that slower kind of speed, yes, it does, and it does, induce these hits that we're seeing, as that one's lifted into right field. Looks like he's camped under it for the third out of the inning. Joey Aronica flies out to end the inning, unable to get any more runs. Port Jeff Royals do strand a runner at third base, but the damage was done in the second inning. 2 runs come across for the Port Jefferson Royals, and they lead this one as we head into the third, 2-0. It's time for Pearson to try to get back in this one. And to do that, they're going to bring up their 2, 3, 4 batters. So stay tuned to see if they're able to get back into this game. You're listening to the Port Jefferson Royals Varsity Baseball right here on the Royals Sports Network. Into the third inning of play here in the Class C County Championship Series. It's the Royals and the Whalers. First pitch was a ball to Pantina. Second pitch gets grounded over to Luke Filippi, who tosses to first base. Roy Rago unable to make the play. And Pantina is safe at first because of that error. Definitely not the best way to start if you are the Royals. Matty Mullen thought he had a 2-pitch, 1-out situation, but now he's already forced to pitch from the stretch, as once again, the Pearson Whalers able to get a runner on. First pitch now to Gardner. Low for a ball. At the count 1-0. And now Pantina definitely going to be a threat to steal. I don't know if he's going to. Second pitch to Gardner, though, in there for a strike. And even in warm-ups, something that I just saw once again is Natty just not finishing on that fastball. He's been leaving him up a little bit too high throughout the game. That next pitch, that one gets the strike number 2. Swing and miss. Made Gardner do a little 360 there. I don't know if that was a changeup or whatever it was. But it definitely looked to drop from my vantage point to make it a 1-2 count, as now he's going to look back, not Gardner, he's going to look up back Pantina at first base. Once again, looks him back at first base. He's just getting a big lead as Pantina really being a nuisance over at first base. And now Gardner going to call time. Just anything to get Natty Mullen out of his rhythm. That's what the Whalers are trying to do as they try to get back some runs here, as that one's lifted up into left field. That one is far deep. That one's going to be at the wall. Abby Rolf's going to field it, throw it in to Luke Filippi, the shortstop. for a very, very long single as Pantina had to look back the ball. He only went halfway, didn't really have a good read on whether that ball would drop or not, as Abby Rolfe, a very good defensive left fielder. So as soon as that ball went up in the air, he kind of hesitated a little bit. That ball dropped and was only able to get a single out of it. But nonetheless, Pearson Whalers get 2 runners on once again in this inning. No outs this time, though, which is the big difference than what we saw in previous innings, as usually there's been an out or 2 outs whenever the Whalers have gotten a run around. Now with no runners on, Max Krotman now double play ball in potentially. He does get the double play. He's got the 2 outs now. Luke Filippi to Rory Rago. Rago looked back the runner over at third base, and now after having a situation with 2 runners on, only 1 runner left with 2 outs in the bottom of the third and a potential to get out of a big jam. Here's Natty Mullen and the Port Jefferson Royals. To try and stop that from happening is going to be Reed Kelsey, who in his previous at-bat grounded out, and first pitch to him this time clipped the outside corner for strike number 1. The 0-1 pitch comes in. That one outside once again, swinging a foul ball towards the Port Jeff dugout. Two balls get thrown to Natty Mullen, so he had to do a little bit of a matrix move to get out of the way. Looks like everyone's fine. Natty Mullen getting back to the mound with now 1 ball in his hand, or in his mitt. 0-2 the count. 2 outs, runner on third base in the top of the third. The next pitch, that one's popped foul. Not above me, so I don't have to worry about it. Still 2 strikes, though. Chance to get out of a huge jam as Natty Mullen goes for the slider, gets the strikeout for strike number 3 and the 3rd out to get out of the jam in the 3rd inning. Natty Mullen with an amazing job staying composed and on the mound, not allowing anything to falter after 2 runners got on early. Pearson does strand 1 runner at third base after that hit in the inning. No runs came across as the Royals still up as we go into the bottom of the third, 2-0. You're listening to the Port Jeff Royals Varsity Baseball Class C County Championship Series right here on the Royal Sports Network. We enter the bottom of the 3rd inning here in Port Jefferson High School here for this Class C Suffolk County Championship Series. The first game of a 3-game set. Royals were able to take a 2-run lead in the 2nd inning, and now in the 3rd, the top of the order due up, looking to put up more damage. And to combat that move, Pearson made a pitching change as the first pitch to Luke Filippi hits the inside corner for strike number 1. But Pearson went with Paul Roselle, the relief pitcher, already in the 3rd inning for this game. Don't want to take any more chances with Andy Wayne giving up 2 runs in that 2nd inning. The 0-1 pitch, that one cut on and fouled off towards the first base side. Luke took a nice hack at that one, a healthy swing, but unable to get the contact he was looking for, and number 12 already down, 0-2 in the count. Pitch, the 0-2 pitch, it's be low and away, bounces in front of Gilbrand. And Roselle, the 1-2 now. That one is hit on and swung towards left field. That one is deep. That one's not coming back, and that one is gone as Luke Filippi sends that one all the way towards the streets and gives the Royals a 3-0 lead, an absolute moonshot to give the Royals even more insurance in the first game of this 3-game county championship series. That ball, as soon as it came off the bat, no chance it was coming back, and everyone in the world knew that it was gone. What a shot down 0-2 in the count, battled back, found his pitch nonetheless, and took it out for a ride was Luke Filippi. And now the Royals take a 3-0 lead in the third inning. And after that home run, I don't know if you hear Coach Jesse Rosen imploring his players to get up on the fences. Roy Rago now rips that one to right field. That one's going to drop in there for a single, and now all the momentum is in the hands of the Port Jefferson Royals, as right after that home run, Rory immediately gets a runner back on base. 3-0 the score in this one in the bottom of the third inning, and after that single by Rory Rago, runner on first base, still 0 outs in this inning. Although a lot has happened, only 2 batters have been up, and now Abby Rolfe marks the third batter as the umpire is going to take, the first base umpire is going to walk towards the mound, just make it clear, and clearing it off, making sure that it's visible to make sure that the pitcher is on the mound the entire time. But after he clears off the rubber, everything seems to be fine, and first pitch to Abby Rolfe, low and away. Paul Rosell just takes a step off the mound, looks back, Roy Rago at first, and then proceeds to fire in the second pitch, but a little bit too inside as that pitch hits Abby Rolfe, and she's going to be heading towards first base. And once again, the Port Jefferson Royals are threatening to score more runs. And to do that, they're going to bring up Kyle Erickson, who already has a single in this game, 1 for 1 so far. And that single ended up being a big catalyst in that second inning to score. First pitch, he rips to center field. That one going to be caught, but gave that one a really nice ride. Love the aggressive at-bats, the aggressive approaches from the Royals so far in this game. They're seeing these pitches really well and taking advantage with some hard-hit contact. And now Natty Mullen, the pitcher, with a runner in scoring position we saw last time, tried to do some help himself this time. Going to try and do the same as the first pitch to him fouled off. And these Port Jeff Royals are all over all of these pitches so far. But due to that foul ball, it's going to be an 0-1 count now. They're going to look back the runner at second base just to check, even though I'm pretty sure he's not going to be moving anywhere anytime soon. But don't want to let him get too big of a lead to allow a single to become another run. As Natty Mullen gets a pitch he really liked, just fouled that one off once again. Make the count 0-2. That's going to be a pitch that he wants back because that one floated right in the middle of the plate, just unable to get the good amount of barrel on the ball. And now the count 0-2. 1 out in the bottom of the third. Runners on first and second base here. As that one gets by the catcher, they're going to have to eat it at the catcher spot. Runners move to second and third. And now Natty Mullen has 2 stakes in play here. And anyone unfamiliar with the stakes usage, they use stakes for RBIs, ribeye steaks. Is that one another pitch? That one ripped to right field. That one's going to fall. 1 run's definitely going to score. Natty Mullen takes a place at first base. A play's going to be made at the plate. He or she's going to be out at the plate, so only 1 run scores. But nonetheless, the Royals take a 4-0 lead in the bottom of the third inning after Natty Mullen ripped that ball to the opposite field to get that RBI single. And that brings Natty Mullen to 2 for 2 on the day, as he's been looking very good, both on the mound and at the plate. Now a 4-0 lead for the Royals. Natty Mullen, who last time got out trying to steal at the base paths. So now with another opportunity to try and see. Maybe he wants to move. Maybe he's going to stay. It's a big read position here for him. But Danny Owens back up at the plate. First pitch was a ball. Second pitch also a ball. It's going to get by the catcher. Natty Mullen's going to be into second base easily. And now Danny has a runner in scoring position here with 2 outs in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Royals scored 2 runs in the 2nd inning, and once again mirroring that with 2 runs here in the 3rd inning. Setting a really nice standard here for this championship series. They're going to go snap throw back to second. The ball gets right back to the center fielder, who fields it cleanly, so no damage is going to be done on the base paths. That's going to force Gilbrand to talk to Paul Roussel, the pitcher, just to make sure that he's settled down. He's already thrown a couple wild pitches, and you know, a home run will rattle you early on, and especially when you come into the game, you're supposed to be holding down the team. You're supposed to hold down the score. The first batter you see hits a home run. Unfortunately, you have to play probably the best player in the class in that first at bat, but that's what the job entails sometimes. And gave up a home run and made it 3-0. Then the Royals had some really nice offense, getting runners on and moving people over. Was led to another run, an RBI by Natty Mullen, who now stands at second base after another pass ball by Roussel. We got 2 balls, 1 strike here on Danny. That pitch, curveball, it's going to get in there for strike number 2. Not the pitch that Danny Owens wanted to swing at, so he let it go by to make the count now 2-2, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. The 2-2 pitch. That one swung on and missed, dropped by the catcher, but he's able to make the catch and the tag to get the Whalers out of the inning. But more damage has been done, as we saw Luke Filippi take one to deep left field to make the score 3-0, and then a couple of hits to bring the lead to 4. Once again, you're listening to the Port Jeff Royals Varsity Baseball right here on the Royal Sports Network. We enter the 4th inning here at Schofield Desiderio Park here in Port Jefferson, as the Port Jefferson Royals continue to face off against the Pearson Whalers in the Suffolk County Class C County Championship Series Game 1. Gabe Zota still here with you all the way through this one, and Natty Mullen entering his 4th inning of service. No runs allowed so far, but Pearson looks to change that here in the 4th inning. To start up their offensive 4th, Gavin Gilbride, who's 0 for 1 in this game with a strikeout, is going to step up to the plate. And first pitch was a ball, but second pitch was able to be cut on and missed. After that, seems like a two-seamer from Natty Mullen. Natty Mullen waits. Time gets called. Definitely expected that. Natty Mullen still has yet to move, looking like a statue on the mound right now. Finds his pitch, sets and fires. As that one's ripped to center field. Looks like it's going to get a glove. Yes, Danny Owens does camp under it, finds the out. It's been a couple of unfortunate scenarios in this game where Pearson has really hit the ball well, has just found the gloves of these Port Jefferson gloves. But I guess if you're Natty Mullen, you'll take that any day, as it leads to outs, and it's 1 out here in the top of the 4th. Natty Mullen is back on the mound, and once again gets that first pitch fastball upstairs on that one. Brendan Burke steps on to the plate, and last time he was up, he walked. After that first pitch, looks like he's got that same patient approach up. But after that foul ball, that one's a little bit high and in. Makes the count 1-1. The 1-1 pitch. One doesn't get the call in the outside corner. It's 2 balls and a strike. They had the count wrong on the scoreboard. Just did a little bit of a flip action there to get the right count. 2-1 pitch. That one's going to be too high. Once again, seeing that struggle again to really finish off that fastball, leaving it high. A 3-1 pitch now. And for the second time in 2 at-bats, Brendan Burke gets himself on first base with another walk. And that's going to put Pearson's offense in motion here in the 4th inning as they get a base runner. It's going to bring up Charles Schaefer, who last time had an absolutely long shot that ended up as a single. Looking to do the same here in this 4th inning. His second at-bat as the first pitch came in, clipped the outside corner for strike number 1. Burke feinted the steal. That pitch gets called for strike number 2 as Eddie Mullen goes right back to that fastball. 0-2 count now. So 1 out here in the top of the 4th. Brendan Burke's occupying first base. Eddie looking to finish off the batter. That fastball outside. They're going to throw for second. Try to get him out. Unable to get the throw in time. The throw was a little bit offline. Good timing in terms of the throw, though. But nonetheless, the Whalers are going to have a runner in scoring position yet again here in the 4th inning. And I'm pretty sure they've had 3, 4, maybe even 5 runners in scoring position throughout the process of this game. Every inning, Pearson has had a base runner in this game. Just unable to cash him in as that ground ball is going to get to Luke Filippi. He's going to make a diving play, throws it over to first. Rory unable to make the scoop play, and that might lead to a run. Doesn't come in, though, as Brendan Burke stays at third base. Runner goes to second base on the errant throw. And now the Whalers threatening with 2 runners on. It's going to force head coach Jesse Rosen to talk up to his pitcher, just talk to the infield, really calm them down. This is a big scenario in this game, big spot for the Whalers, but also a big pivotal spot for the Port Jefferson Royals, because this could be the time that the Whalers get their momentum in this game. They could push across a couple runs, and that could force them to get back entirely in this game. But if you are the Royals, this could be a big spot to once again dead any momentum possible. We've seen Natty Mullen do it a couple times in this game, and now with 1 out here in the 4th inning, he's going to be tasked with the challenge of trying to do it yet again. As Natty Mullen takes one more deep breath before he steps back on the mound, Paul Roussel steps into the batter's box. And now it's not Andy Wayne, but Paul Roussel hitting in Andy Wayne's spot. First pitch fastball in there for a strike, and that's what you want to do. You got the 9th batter up. The big focus here should just be throw strikes, force him to make a play, probably get a ground ball, so focus on the bottom of the strike zone as he does that yet again for the second strike. Fouls that one off, did Paul Roussel. But if able to really command the bottom of the strike zone, able to force a ground ball, you're able to try and keep the runners where they are while getting the outs. As the third pitch upstairs that time, switched the eye levels on Paul Roussel, gets the strikeout for out number 2, and once again, Natty Mullen is 1 out away from getting out of yet another jam. But it's going to be a challenge to do so. because Vincent Cavagnola, the leadoff, the number one batter of the Pearson Whalers, is going to be in front of him to do that. First pitch, fastball, outside corner, strike number one. And after that pitch, I'm going to call a timeout. Evan Raymond going to walk over to his pitcher, have a little bit of a chat. And Coach Filippi had something to say. Maybe they wanted a pitch over here by the coach's corner, and possibly Natty could have thrown a different pitch. Nonetheless, he was able to get the first strike. So at least that's a positive. But runners on second and third. Top of the fourth inning, 2 outs, 0-1 the count. Next second pitch, that one gets by Evan Raymond. They're going to throw it over, not going to be able to make the play. The other run, he's going to try and come in. Is he going to be successful? Yes, he is. And just like that, the Whalers able to put up 2 runs of their own due to a pass ball, high fastball by Evan Raymond that got back to the backstop. And to make this game just a little bit closer. Now the score 4-2 in this one in the 4th inning. Just update the score for everyone watching there. This game's 4-2. But after that, now Natty Mullen, I guess, could take a little bit more of a deep breath as no runners on, could really just focus solely on the batter as that ball gets by Evan Raymond once again, who's catching. 2-1 the count here, 2 outs in the top of the 4th. The 2-1 pitch. That one's going to get in there. It's again on the outside side of the plate for the second strike to even things up at 2-2. 2-2 pitch. This one fired in there low for ball number 3. And now Vincent Cavagnola has a full count and a chance to get himself on first base. 3-2 pitch. That one going to be low again. Cavagnola is going to walk to get himself onto first base. And after an 0-2 start for Cavagnola, the number doesn't change. He stays 0-2, but he finally gets himself on to first. Another player who has started this game 0-2, but has seen some play on the base paths, has been Christian Pantina, who is up at the plate right now. Cavagnola's going to steal, test the arm of Evan, able to get in there safely with the steal. And now the Whalers once again have a runner in scoring position. And this is such an advantageous position to be in if you are Pantina, who's been able to get the medal on the ball both at bats so far in this game. If he's able to do it again, might just have a chance to score their 3rd run of the game. As that one, he does get a ground ball to Luke Filippi. Luke's going to throw it over to first. Rory going to look over, able to make the play for the 3rd out of the inning. So they're able to get out of a runners in scoring position, but the damage was done in that inning, and Pearson Whalers have put their step and made their stance in this game, putting up 2 runs in the top of the 4th inning. And as the Port Jefferson Royals try and bounce back in the bottom of the 4th, they're going to bring up their own bottom of the order due to set up for the Royals. You're listening to Port Jeff Royals Varsity Baseball right here on the Royal Sports Network. Bottom of the 4th inning here in Port Jefferson between the Royals and the Whalers here in the Suffolk County Class C County Championship Series. Pearson Whalers were able to put up 2 runs in the top of the 4th to make this game a 4-2 game. And now Paul Russell, who was on the mound for his 2nd inning of service, is looking to continue the momentum in the Whalers' direction. And if he wants to do so, it's definitely going to be in this inning, because he's facing the bottom of the order for the Royals. 7-8-9 here in this inning. We have Frankie Andriani, Evan Raymond, and Joey Aronica due up for the Royals. That curveball on the 1-1 pitch gets in there, drops in there for strike number 2. And Roussel already ahead in the count. Next pitch, that one's going to be low in there to even up the count at 2-2. Tried to see if he can get a chase out of Andriani on that attempt, but Andriani held up, didn't swing on that one. 2-2 pitch. That one's going to be swung on and made contact. It's going to be popped up towards the right fielder. He's going to camp under it and make the play for the first out of the bottom of the 4th inning. Now, it's going to bring up Evan Raymond, the catcher, and in the top half of this 4th inning, he was the reason that both of the runs scored as a pitch caromed off of his glove into the backstop and forced both the runners that were on to score as the first pitch. Roussel thought that was going to be a strike call, didn't get it. As that next pitch ripped towards the first baseman, he's able to make that play nice and easy for the second out of the inning. But what's crucial for Evan Raymond is to really let that play be in the past, not really focus on that too much, because yes, 2 runs did come across because of it, but it wasn't entirely his fault. And that's going to bring up Joey Ronica, the number 9 batter for the Royals team. First pitch low and away for ball number 1. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Next pitch, that one's a little bit too low. So low that it went through the 5-hole of the catcher. Count now 2-0. Joey usually is going to see a lot of pitches, and usually he gets a lot of balls. So that strike zone is super tight on Joey. The 2-0 pitch came in there, and finally Roussel gets a pitch in the strike zone to make the count 2-1. As he looks to bounce back. That second pitch drops it in there for strike number 2. That was Joey. Maybe he thought that pitch was going to be a little bit too high. Froze him a little bit as it dropped right back into the middle of the zone. Roussel's looking good here. Third pitch. That one's going to be lined up the middle. Shortstop able to make the play for the 3rd out of the inning. So although the Port Jeff Royals got metal on the ball 3 times in this inning, unable to get any hits or runners on base. And that'll do it for the 4th inning. We head into the 5th inning here in Port Jefferson, where the Port Jeff Royals are still up 4-2 in this game. You're listening to the Port Jeff Royals Varsity Baseball right here on the Royal Sports Network. Welcome to the 5th inning of action here in Port Jefferson, as Natty Mullen takes the mound once again against this Pearson Whalers roster in the 4th inning. Whalers able to put up 2 runs. And really set the tone, push the momentum a little bit back towards their favor in the 4th inning. But Natty Mullen, as he takes the mound back, looking to take retribution, get back, and not allow anything else to come through in this game. It's the batter, Justin Gardner, was already down 0-2 in the count, takes his time out in this at-bat. The 0-2 pitch, though. That one, slider, dropped in there. Strike number 3 for Natty Mullen to get the first out of the 5th inning via the strikeout. It's going to be his 4th K of the game. Again, most of his outs have come through contact. It's going to bring up now Max Krotman, who he lines that one into left center. That one's going to get through. He's going to take a turn to second base. He's going to try for 2. Throw comes in. He's safe at second base. Krotman gets himself on with a 1-out double in the 5th inning. Let's give the Whalers another runner in scoring position in this game. And that hit was absolutely massive for the Whalers. keeping that momentum of the offensive side on their end. And breaks up Reed Kelsey, who himself, he rips one over to center field. They're going to get a little bit of a sac fly move here. And Kelsey, with that sac fly, moves the runner over to third base. As they're going to check if he left early at second base. And he did leave early. He gets the out at second base to end the inning. What an appeal by Coach Jesse Rosen of the Port Jefferson Royals. And that mistake is going to be costly, as it halts the momentum for the Whalers, as they thought they were going to have a runner in scoring position with 2 outs, but instead, umpire deemed that he left early at second base for the final out of the top of the 5th inning. As we go into the bottom of the 5th inning here, score stays 4-2 in favor of the Port Jefferson Royals. Once again, you're listening to the Class C Suffolk County Championship Series between the Port Jeff Royals and the Pearson Whalers right here on the Royals Sports Network. In the bottom of the 5th we go here, Schofield Desiderio Park, as the Royals step back into the box to try to get some more insurance runs in this game, as they currently lead 4-2. Luke Filippi at the plate. Second pitch into him, outside and low. Make the count 1-1, and in his last at bat, Luke Filippi sent a shot out to left field. Looking to repeat that again as he rips that one, this time towards right field. Able to make the catch is the right fielder. Really nice play, but really nice hit by Luke Filippi. But as we've seen from the Whalers, just because you hit the ball well doesn't mean you're going to get on base 100% of the time. It's going to be the first out of the bottom of the 5th. And Roy Rago steps up to the plate. So there seems to be a little bit of a conference at the mound after that play. Rosell and the shortstop pointing over towards the right fielder, making sure that they know that they acknowledge that great play. He kind of did like a twisting leap to make that grab. The first out was made as Roy Rago steps up at the plate, swings and fouls off the first pitch of the bat, then looked back at the dugout for the Royals. Maybe he realized that maybe that was a pitch that he could have hit. Maybe wants back, but instead is in an 0-1 situation with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. Second pitch, second strike of the at-bat, is Rosell able to get that off-speed pitch to fall in there. And it puts Rory in a 2-strike situation. Gonna have to choke up, try and fight off some tough pitches as they go with another off-speed pitch. But this time get a bounce in front of the plate. One and two the count now. The 1-2 pitch. That one going to be hit down the middle. That one might get through, and it does, towards the center fielder. Rory Rago with another single in this game to bring his day for a 2-for-3 ball game. He's going to be the first base runner of the inning for the Royals, and another chance to keep this offense and this lead moving in their perceived right direction. That one, Abby Rolfe flies that one towards the second baseman. They're going to have to make a close play at first. Ball gets by the first baseman. Rory going to be able to move to second base. Stays on the bag, safe at second base. Didn't slide there. You see Rosen telling his player, definitely have to slide on a close play like that. Don't want to get tagged out and don't want to have any kind of collision situation. You have to slide in that situation. Paul Rosell, after Rory moving to second base, looks back. Rory at second. And Kyle Erickson up at the plate. First pitch to him. Fouled off towards the third base dugout. And Kyle's had himself a pretty decent day at the plate, 1 for 2, but in his second at-bat of the day, hit a fairly strong line out towards the center fielder in the first pitch. Able to make good contact, but once again, found a glove. And now snapback throw back to second base, a little bit offline towards the shortstop. Went back to the center fielder. No damage done, though. Still 1-1 the count here. Bottom of the fifth inning. Runner on second base. That pitch fouled off at the plate. After that completed strikeout, able to get by the fifth inning. Score does stay 4-2 as the Port Jeff Royals unable to scratch across any more runs in that inning. We're going to head to the sixth inning where the score stays 4-2, and it looks like Natty Mullen will take the mound once again. You're listening to the Port Jeff Royals Varsity Baseball right here on the Royal Sports Network. Top of the sixth inning now, as Natty Mullen takes the mound once again. First pitch, swing and miss on that off speed. And Natty Mullen going up against Gavin Gilbride, the catcher, 0 for 2 in this game. In his last at bat, had a really nice hit, just caught the glove once again. Both sides have had really nice contact in certain situations, just unable to get any runs across with that contact or any hits. Natty now 2-1 down in this count to a catcher of the Whalers. And that one low and away for 3-1 count now. And we've seen this time and time, every here and there in this game where Natty Mullen loses control in a couple batters, shown by a couple walks, and that 3-1 pitch, fastball right down the middle to make the count 3-2. Three-two pitch coming in. Another fastball, that time outside corner, strike number 3 for the first down, first out of the sixth inning, excuse me. And after Natty's 5th strikeout of the game, it's going to bring up Brendan Burke, who's 0 for 0 in this one after 2 walks. A little bit of a stoppage. Is the umpire sneezing or something? that first pitch was upstairs. Once again, seeing these upstairs fastballs from the pitcher, Natty Mullen. Even though Burke is more of a taller physique, these pitches have been a little bit too high to him in this game, and it seems like he's over-adjusted on that second pitch. He's going to find the dirt to make the count 2-0 here. To show bunt. Still going to hold bunt. Pulls the bat out. Inside was the pitch. Make the count 3-0. And that right there does confuse the pitcher a little bit. Showing the pitcher the bunt kind of makes him lose his painted strike zone that he imagines in there. But the 3-0 pitch, classic strike on the 3-0 pitch to make the count 3-1. And now an opportunity for Natty to bounce back in this inning, or in this at-bat. 3-1 pitch, that one fouled off to the third base side. 3-2 now the count. And this would be a big spot to be able to come all the way back in this at-bat for Natty. See if he's able to do it. 3-2 pitch, strike three with the fastball. Blows it right by him for strikeout number 6 for Natty Mullen in this game. So far, 2 outs, 2 3-2 pitches, and 2 strike 3 calls in this top of the 6th inning. Now 2 outs, no runners on. That brings up Charles Schaefer once again, and the first pitch to him high upstairs for ball number 1. Schaefer, once again, in that second inning, had a monstrous single that went all the way to the left field wall. It was only held to the single because the batter above him, Brendan Burke, correctly played the ball and didn't really know if it was going to drop, so he didn't move too far as that ball popped up towards the catcher. Seems like it drops in there foul, and the batter threw the bat back to his dugout, thought he was surely out because of the pop out, but now has to retrieve his bat as he gets a second chance. And when you're able to get these second opportunities, these second chances, definitely want to make the most of it. Two and 1 the count. Pitch comes in. That one ripped over towards left field. Abby Rolfe seems to be under it, and she's able to make the play for the 3rd out of the top of the 6th inning. After a dominant inning of work from Natty Mullen, keeps Pearson off of the base paths with 2 strikeouts back-to-back and finished it off with that line out to Abby Rolfe. So Pearson unable to get any runs across, and the score stays at 4-2 as we head towards the bottom of the 6th inning. You're still listening to the Port Jeff Royals varsity baseball right here on the Royal Sports Network. Bottom of the sixth inning here, as the Royals are still holding on to a 4-2 lead against the Pearson Whalers, as that one's grounded through the middle. Plays made by the shortstop, able to throw to first to make the play completed for the first out of the 6th inning. And Natty Mullen, after a 2-for-2 start today, grounds out for his first out of his ball game. Still take 2 for 3. That's going to bring up the next batter, Danny Owens, who hasn't been as fortunate as Natty Mullen in this game. He's been hit by a pitch and then struck out for 0 for 1. And the first pitch to him in this new at-bat was outside. He shows bunt that time, fouls it off into the backstop, and that's a pitch that you definitely need to make. And he was able to make it. But Danny Owens tried to get that bunt down. Unsuccessful attempt. Doesn't do any damage, though, as it's just counting for a strike. Evens up the count 1-1. Doesn't show bunt that time. Does get the call on the outside strike. And makes the count 1-2. And that pitch has been a pitch that's been called the entire game. That kind of outside corner pitch. whether it's from the curveball from Andy Wayne or the fastball from Paul Rosell. With a 1-2 pitch. That one slid a little bit too outside to even up the count. 2-2. 2-2 pitch. That one swung at, got by the third baseman. Danny able to get his first base hit of the game. Takes a nice round around first base. And he gets himself on for his first base hit of the game and the first base hit of the inning for the Port Jefferson Royals. And that was a pitch that was high upstairs. He kind of clubbed that one. Able to get through the diving third baseman. Shows bunt again. This time popped up towards the from these Royals 6th inning. Danny Owens goes. Bunt is laid down. Play's going to be made over at first base, but the sac bunt is converted well as Danny's able to get to second base to bring a The 1-2 pitch now to Raymond. He's going to lift that one over, pop up to the right field for the third out of the 6th inning. So the Royals unable to scratch across any more runs. The score stays 4-2 as we head into the 7th inning, the 7th and final inning of this ball game, unless the Pearson Whalers are able to score 2 more runs and tie up the ball game. We'll see what happens coming up as Natty Mullen retakes the mound for the 7th inning of work here. You're listening to the Port Jeff Royals Varsity Baseball right here on the Royal Sports Network. And here we go, the 7th inning of action here at the Schofield Desiderio Park in Port Jefferson. In this first game of a 3-game set for the Suffolk County Class C County Championship Series. Natty Mullen looking to complete the complete game. The first pitch was a strike. Second pitch grounded over to Luke Filippi. Able to make the throw over to first for the first out of the 7th inning. And that was Paul Rosell. But it's not going to be the easiest of challenges for Natty Mullen as he's going to have to deal with the top of the order to get these final outs of the game. Vinny Cavagnola up at the plate. First pitch swung on and popped towards the right field second base. And Joey Aronica gets the second out of the inning. And the Pearson Whalers are down to their final out of this first game. Christian Pantina going to try to keep his team alive. First pitch to him. That one is swung on. Flew over to the right field. Trying to make the diving play. Unable to as that ball is going to fall in there. Pantina stays at first base. And this game is still very much alive in the 7th inning. A huge spot here for Justin Gardner, who in this game already has a single. You have to assume that they're going to try and test the arm of Evan Raymond behind the plate. and try and get Pantina into scoring position here. As the first pitch at 1, gonna fall in there for a strike. Seems like this is now Dan Labrazo, as that one's gonna single through the infield as Dan Labrazzi, who might have pinch hit. And they might be making a pitching change here, as with now 2 runners on scoring position, or not 2 runners on scoring position, but 2 runners on, they're gonna go. Let me see who they have throwing here. It might be Rory. I have to just make sure. Oh, wait. The ball is going to go into Luke Filippi's hands. Yeah, I mean, you had to assume that they were going to make some sort of pitch and change there. Natty Mullen had a really nice game, only 2 runs allowed and 6 strikeouts in this one, but when things started to shift in their direction, they're going to force Luke Filippi to try and make the final out of the game. And to do that, they're going to bring up Max Kropman, who's had a very nice game, has been able to get contact on every single at-bat so far. And his last at-bat was his best one, when he got a double. Luke Filippi's going to take his warm-up pitches, and this first game really sets the tone, and it seems like Pearson's really doing a good job staying alive, keeping their hopes alive in this first one. If they're able to steal the first game of this series, it really puts all the momentum in their hands in this championship series. And that's why you see Coach Jesse Rosen make a move like this, bring in their #1 pitcher, their guy who usually starts games and gets complete games and never allows any real runs. Now up to close the game in a very precarious situation with 2 runners on here in the top of the 7th inning. And it only takes 1 more out. It only takes a ground ball, a fly out, a strikeout. It only takes 1 more out to get them out of this game, and it's going to be an interesting situation on how they're going to want to do it here. But for the Whalers, once again, it's going to be Max Kropman, who 2 for 3 in this game. The single and a double. First pitch high, but does swing was Max, so makes the count 0-1. Luke setting up for his 0-1. Another pitch, another fastball, another strike, 0-2, and the Whalers are down to their final strike of their game. 2 pitches, 2 fastballs have been absolutely blisters inside the zone, as Max is going to call for time to make sure his at-bat is as on his terms as possible. You got to assume Luke's going to go with another fastball here. Let's see. 0-2 pitch comes in. Fastball, strike number 3, finishes off game #1 of this Class C Championship Series. None other than Luke Filippi with 3 pitches, 3 strikes, and a strikeout to end off the game, giving the Royals a 4-2 victory and heading in to the second game of this series tomorrow. It's definitely looking like it's going to be competitive through and throughout. What a win, what a first game, what a tone setter for the Port Jeff Royals to get the game completed and through with the victory. They're going to have to do it once again tomorrow if they want to win this series, because once again it is a 3-game series. And as we end here, as the handshakes are going through and as the runners are running off to their side, let's just run through the performances from the batters in this game. So let's start with the away team, Pearson, and they put up 2 runs in this game. Vincent Cavagnola with 2 flyouts, a walk, and then a pop-out for his 0-for-3 ball game. Christian Pantina finished off 1 for 4 with 2 groundouts, reached on an error, and then a single. Justin Gardner, and then it turned to Dan Labrazzi. Justin Gardner was 1 for 3, and then Labrazzi was able to get a single. Max Krotman finished off the game with a single, a strikeout, and a double. Reed Kelsey with a groundout, strikeout, and a flyout. Gavin Gilbride, 2 strikeouts and a lineout. Brendan Burke, 2 walks and a K. Charles Schaefer with a single and a lineout, also reached on an error. And Andy Wayne and Paul Rosell had a sac bunt, a strikeout, and a groundout combined. If we look over towards the Port Jefferson Royals, Luke Filippi had a decent game, I guess because he hit that home run in the 3rd inning. Other than that, he flied out 2 times. Rory Rago with 2 singles in this one, accompanied with a flyout. Abby Rolfe struck out, was hit by a pitch, and also popped out. Kyle Erickson first got a single, then lined out and struck out. Natty Mullen with 2 singles and a ground out. Danny Owens with a hit by pitch, strikeout, and a single of his own. Frankie Andriani with a double, a pop out, and a sac bunt. Evan Raymond with a sac fly and then 2 pop outs, and then Joey Aronica with a fly out and an out. Once again, the Port Jefferson Royals able to take Game 1 of this 3-game series by a score of 4-2. And join us back here tomorrow as we go to Pearson and take on the Whalers once again to try and clinch the Class C Suffolk County Championship Series. This was the Port Jefferson Royals Varsity Baseball brought to you by the Royal Sports Network. I'm Gabe Zota, wishing you all a good day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for game number 2.